Forbes India presents Top 30 Talent Leaders of 2023, powered by Indeed.
My name is Simon, and I work for SalesForce. I head recruiting for SalesForce in India. I also have an extended role for all tech roles in APAC. I am from Bangalore, born, brought up, studied over here. I've worked for companies like SAP, Microsoft, Novell, and NetApp. Been in the HR space all through, different verticals of HR, but predominantly in the talent space. On the personal front, I'm married to Linda. We have a 10-year-old son. I also have two four-legged friends, Dusty and Rojo, and I live with my parents. And that's about me. So in my first interview, right, we were a room filled with 80 people, and only 3 of us got selected from that 80. Immediately, there was a lot of curiosity that got built in, and I was like, there's something else that happens behind the scenes, and that is when I started learning a little more about recruiting while I was working. I used to partner a lot with the HR organization, figure a lot about what happens in recruiting behind the scenes. And that's how the whole love for recruiting kicked in. And that's where my journey began. My journey started off very early, as early as my summer job while I was in my 10th grade. I used to work in a departmental store as a sales boy, right? So it kind of got to me. Sales was something that I started enjoying from then, and then I did multiple jobs. I worked for an event management company. I used to do a little bit of marketing jobs, and these are all part-time jobs. And then I ended up in a recruiting agency, trying to figure out how all of these things work, how recruiting works. And back in those days, it used to be hard copy of resumes where people used to come and drop it off. And we had to take those to the companies to figure out what is it that they need and how they like it, so on and so forth. So it started off from there, and it was more part-time jobs. Everything was a part-time job till I finally landed myself a full-time job to figure out something happens behind the scenes, and I went and took on recruiting. While I was interested in recruiting, I also figured out that there is a professional course that you have to go through. So I went and did my MBA. I did my MBA in HR, specialized in HR, worked again in an agency, did some work in the BPO industry, and then got my journey kicked on towards the product company. So I've worked with, I started off my first job with Schneider Electric. Again, it was a temporary job in recruiting. And from there, it started off, my interest in HR just began to increase and increase and increase, right? While as much as I was in recruiting, I was very curious about what happens in the other parts of the organization within HR. So I took up a job as a HR business partner. I joined a startup where I was part of the HR organization, predominantly recruiting, but I was also involved in a lot of other activities like learning and development, comp and ben, shared services. So with all of those things, learning has always been the center of focus for me. That's always interested, and learning clubbed with curiosity is a very good recipe to for new experiences. So before talking to you about the challenge, I'll give you a little snippet about our talent industry today. The talent pool that we have is very small, and it's a shared talent pool that we have across all companies, right? Every company hires the similar kind of skills, and the talent pool available for that is the same. So in my opinion, a talent leader, the challenge that a talent leader has today is to attract the right talent and also keep them engaged through the process. Our notice periods are anywhere between 30 days to 90 days, right? So not only by attracting the right talent, our job doesn't end there. We also need to keep them engaged through the entire process and get them onboarded. So on one side, we need to attract the right talent. On the other side, we need to keep them engaged through the entire process and get them onboarded with us. And it doesn't end there. Once they onboard also, we will have to keep our employees super engaged so that they are aware of what's coming their way. And that's where we believe in positioning a career and not just a job. So to summarize it, the biggest challenge that we have is to attract the right talent for an organization, to keep them engaged, and long term retain them in the organization as well. One of the things that I love about human resource is the opportunity to innovate, right? We innovate almost every other day in different ways. So there are a lot of things that we have done. There are a lot of things that I have done in the industry for us from an innovation perspective, right? Very small thing can be nurturing candidates, right? Today we don't know what our needs are, but having a forecast of what the demand looks like, creating a pipeline of those candidates, keeping them ready so that as and when the organization has a need, we immediately go and pull up these candidates and get them on board, right? All the way up to curating candidates, generating interest. Majority of our candidates are looking out for a change, but there is also this pool of candidates who are not looking out for a change. They're happy where they are. They're doing their job fantastically well. And at some point in time, if they ever decide to make the change, our company name should feature in their mind. So to keep all of these things in place, it is very important to keep pushing ourselves out in the market in front of the candidates to tell them what a super cool place we are, right? What we also do is talk a lot about the kind of work that happens within the organization, the opportunities that we have, and position careers. Like I mentioned before, we very strongly believe in positioning careers and not just a role, because a candidate or an employee is not looking at just a role, but a career, saying what can they do next. Everybody's thinking about what next. So keeping all of these things in mind, we have done a lot of stuff in the organizations that I've worked for. And right now, as we speak, there are multiple projects that we are running. And the idea is very simple: to attract quality talent, to keep them engaged, and at the same time, keep the business need in the center of the entire plan and make that a success. So some of the things we do from an organization perspective is we focus heavily on experiences. We focus on candidate experience. When I say candidate experience, what I mean is that when a candidate goes through us, I'm sorry, when a candidate interviews with us, we want to give the candidate a good experience. She or he should enjoy that experience, and even if things don't go well, they should say that, this is an organization that I would love to work for, right? So that is one area where we spend a lot of time in creating good experiences for our candidates. And it's not just for the candidates, it is also for the employees, the interviewers whom we work with regularly, and also for us as recruiters, right? So creating a safe space is something that I very strongly believe in. We spend most of the time awake in office working than at home. So it is very important to have that space, and I believe in creating such space. And when you create such a space, 100% of a employee is productive. 100% of them comes to job, and they start enjoying everything that they do. So yeah, I believe in creating a workspace which everybody feels safe. And also, we need to go and ask employees, in terms of ask my team, what does that mean for them, right? I should not just sit and assume, saying that, all right, this is what I believe, but it's always better to ask and figure out what is it they need and provide them with things that they need, so that they are happy, and they come to work smiling every day. That's the goal. A lot of things, but my first passion is biking. Right, I when I'm not doing anything, I'm on my motorcycle and I'm riding somewhere. So I would have become a full-time biker, or I would be running an event management company. Because I used to enjoy the job back in my college days. Events, every day is a different event, new place, new people, new experiences. I would have picked up one of these things if I was not a talent leader. HR is a beautiful space. It's an awesome place for learning. The amount of learning that a person can get in HR is humongous. So my advice to people who are considering a career in HR is that it's the right thing to do, and come with an open mind frame, come with an open mindset, because in HR, it's actually applicable everywhere. You need to learn as well as unlearn. Every time you're taking on something new, you need to unlearn what you did and learn the next bit of thing. Right? Have an open mind. Be ready to learn and unlearn. Get creative. Make mistakes. Right? Mistakes are a big stepping stone for learning. Right? Build your network, and most importantly, enjoy what you're doing. Because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, irrespective of what you do, you will never like it. Enjoy what you're doing, and explore and have fun. My focus has always been on learning. My focus has always been on building or creating new experiences, trying different things. So I will continue on that journey, and I would like to challenge myself time and again, and that has helped me a lot in my career so far. So as next steps, I would continue doing all of these things. My focus is going to be in learning new things, picking up new skills, creating new strategies, and looking forward to some of the big challenges that Salesforce has when Salesforce has already thrown at me, and looking forward to a rocking ride.
Forbes India presents Top 30 Talent Leaders of 2023, powered by Indeed.